Sorry, I had to let the beat just run for a minute.
No,
welcome,
go for
welcome,
your song.
welcome to Workhorse Wrestling Network. This is Under the Radar, a new show in which we're going to review some of the lesser watched shows, bring some light to them. We're going to do AEW Dark Elevation, AEW Dark, MLW, BTE, and Impact. It'll probably be quick. We're going to try to keep this to under a half an hour so we don't drone on too much in your guys' ears. And yeah, so if you're watching, this is pre recorded, it's not live, so please leave your comments below. We do appreciate it. Hit that like button, hit that subscribe button if you're not subscribed already. And I guess let's just go ahead and crack this bad boy open. Which one do you want to start with?
Um, I thought we start off with MLW.
Oh, okay. I
So
can
yeah,
do
I'm
that.
gonna let you handle that one.
All right, hold on for just one sec. And I just got to find my little review here because it's all in one document, of course, on my phone. So let's see. All right. So we can go ahead and I'll remove CM, and I'm going to. What we're going to do is we're going to each take a little segment. I'm going to do a MLW, and she'll do BTE, and then the other segments we will do together. So this week on MLW Fusion number 156, which was yesterday, Thursday, December 1st, it was a super series show, which means that they have it's like a crossover show where they have the USA guys wrestling. They bring in Japan guys from Puerto Rico, and guys from Mexico, and then they have an inter-brand warfare. This show started off with a recap of last week when the judge EJ and Duca beat up Alex Hammerstone, the heavyweight champion, after basically telling him he wanted a match and asking why he hadn't been given a match. So we get that package, and then it goes into the first match, which is a fatal four-way for the number one contender to Taya Valkyrie's featherweight title. Taya's at ringside. This is a solid match. Of course, I should I should have the names. I have the name of the winner. I don't know why I don't have all the names here, um, but that's terrible. This will get better as we go along. This is the pilot, so bear with us for a minute. But it was a good match. Lots of good spots. There was some double spots. I don't know if some of these women. I'm not super familiar with all these women because all four of them I believe, or three of them were from Mexico and one from Japan. So I wasn't familiar with any of them. They were all new to me. So I don't know if any of them have tag team history together or not, but there were definitely a couple of them that did some like double type spots where they both had the other, like there were two Boston Crabs going on at the same time or that kind of thing. So um, it went about, I don't know, I want to say about 12 to 13 minutes. A strong women's match. All these women can go. They can all wrestle. Lots of good spots, lots of good grappling, lots of good striking. Flamer won with a top rope splash on Reina Dorado, who had just been superplexed off the top rope by another lady whose name is I'm drawing a blank on now. After she won the match, Flamer or La Flamer went and confronted Taya Valkyrie. They had little words, and then when Taya kind of turned her back or sideways to her, Flamer attacked her, and so they had that little brawl. And then it switched to a promo from the Samoan SWAT team. We get Jacob Fatu, Juicy Finau, and Lance Anoa'i sitting at a at a table at a funky poolside hotel. It looks like a total dive hotel, and they're basically just sitting outside talking. I mean, this is classic MLW. It's about as cheap a production level as you can get. But Jacob Fatu, they're harassing him about how he won the Battle Riot and how he gets his shot and when he's going to take a shot. So he basically tells Hammerstone that he's coming for him, which we've already seen that before. So we'll have to see if Hammerstone is still the champion when that comes around, when Fatu decides to do that. And then Fatu harasses Lance and Juicy about when they're going to go for the gold as tag team champions. And they basically say as soon as Court Bauer gives us a chance. And that's basically the promo. They're just talking about how the Samoan SWAT team should have all the gold. Um, Then let's see here. Oh, hold on. Sorry, my phone just fucking went down on me. Sorry. I lost my place here. Wow, this is really terrible. I'm gonna have to edit some of this out. Let's see. Then we get another replay of the judge. Wow. EJ and Duca beating up Hammerstone again, and then we get a promo from EJ where he's coming to the arena for the show. It's in the parking lot. They catch him like they do, and he gives basically a promo in the parking lot. Um, and then it goes to right into a promo from Mance Warner, who is now back in MLW. He's outside again, high production value. He's outside the building in front of a garbage can with a cell phone, and he's talking to someone on the cell phone who he claims to be Doc Gallows, and he says that Doc Gallows is Mads Kruger, who is basically the guy that broke up Contra. Joseph Samael brought him in. He was the last guy brought into Contra, and then basically sowed the seeds of the destruction of Contra, and ended up in a fight with Jacob Fatu, which destroyed Contra. And so, but then Mads has had this feud with Mance Warner, and so he says he's talking to Doc Gallows, and that he's Mads Kruger, and blah 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 blah, and that he wants another match with Mads. The pacing on this is really odd because then it goes right into another promo from Shun Skywalker, who is from Japan. I believe he's from DDT, and he goes ahead and challenges Myron Reed for the MLW National, what is it? National Junior Heavyweight title, I think it is. And wow, this is really bad. I should know the name of the title too. And then it cuts to Myron Reed responding, and he says, "Anytime you want to wrestle, let's do it." So we're gonna get that match next week on another Super Series show. Then Killer Kross is supposed to be scheduled for a match. It doesn't say who his opponent is going to be, but it flashes backstage and he's been beat up, and he's not the first guy that's been beat up. They're telling this kind of underlying story where he's now the third guy that's been beat up, and they just like leave this business card on the beat up person. We don't know who's doing it. We don't know what the business card means, but Cesar Duran, the guy that did Lucha Underground, is now on MLW, and so Cesar Durant, and so he is, up to something in the background. He's got his, regular soap opera-y kind of storylines going on that he had with Lucha Underground. It's not quite as good, but he's trying to kind of create that same atmosphere. So this is one of those underlying stories. So Kross is beat up, and he's now the third person attacked with this business card left on him, and then it switches to another promo from Alex Kane, where he's talking about Davey Richards and how he stole Davey Richards' Opera Cup. Davey Richards won the Opera Cup the last time. It's one of the events that MLW does. And Davey Richards just beat Alex Kane for the openweight title. And so he wants his title back, and in the meantime, he's got the Opera Cup that he's holding basically ransom, I guess, in trade for a match. Then we get a vignette announcing that Davey Boy Smith Jr. is coming back to MLW. He was the very first Opera Cup winner. He's been here before. He's bounced around before. He was Harry Smith. He's the son of Davey Boy Smith of the British Bulldogs of WWE renowned fame. And then we get the main event match between Hammerstone and Bandito for the title. Very good match. Hammerstone wins with the Nightmare Pendulum. Lots of good spots. Bandito looks really good. Bandito hit his finisher. Hammerstone kicked out. And that's basically MLW 156 for this week. Sorry for all the bad, not knowing all the names and all that stuff. This will get tighter as we go on. I'm going to go ahead and bring CM back in, and we can talk about something else.
Not too bad, but now you see why I was not too pressed to do MLW.
No doubt.
Just a lot of moving parts on that end. So let's go ahead and let's do Dark and Dark Elevation.
Which one do we want to do first?
Let's do.
I think Elevation's on Monday and Dark's on Tuesday, right?
Yes.
Yeah, so I have them in that order. I mean, I have Dark Elevation first, so.
I have Dark Elevation first. I don't think that we should talk about every match.
No, I agree.
But I will on Dark Elevation. A match of note was the Bunny with Penelope Ford versus Blair Onyx. This was kind of a return match for the Bunny. This was like I believe her second match back.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. I continue to love the Bunny. I continue to love the character work that they've done. She is showing who she is in AEW, and is coming closer to her. I think they were TNA Impact at the time with Rosemary, and I feel like that is a story that has good crossover. The Bunny does win. Currently, she is 29-22 in AEW, which is pretty cool. Any thoughts from you about that one?
No, I mean, my notes just basically say squash, Onyx, traditional kind of a goth look, which is, I mean, she wasn't overly memorable. There wasn't anything about Onyx that I thought was memorable. Bunny looked good. Onyx had that one cool, like, bending move where she, like, matrix back and then came back. I wrote that down. But yeah, no, the Bunny looked good. I'm happy to see her back, and yeah.
Yeah, we had a Brandon Cutler match afterwards. Look, I like Brandon Cutler.
I do too.
I like the whole saga he and Peter Avalon did, where they had the first like 2 ties in AEW. That does not get talked about enough. I would love to hear about that more. But moving on, the third match for Dark Elevation was Nyla Rose and Marina Shafir versus Emi Sakura and Maki Ito. It was a match.
Yeah, I'm looking here for some reason. Why don't I have that in my notes? It must have been that bad that I didn't keep notes on it.
So Maki Ito connects with American audiences, even though in the ring she's not really that good. Marina Shafir just doesn't, and she should.
This is one of those I think where all 4 competitors should be. Nyla Rose is really good. Marina Shafir could be really good. I mean, I think she has the ability. She just needs more time. And I love Emi Sakura. I'm a huge Emi Sakura fan. I think it's probably just because maybe she's a little older. I'm not sure why she's not getting a main roster run. Well, and Maki Ito just needs time to get over with American fans. But I think she's talented. She's not as talented as Emi. She's a little clunkier in the ring, but she needs more work. But she's good.
Yeah, but with Emi, she has the school in Japan. She's more of a coach and a trainer. Like, I would love to see her get more. I want to see Lulu Pencil back because I like that whole kind of the teacher and I'm teaching you to be bad type situation.
Yeah.
I love that. I'm looking forward to seeing more of that. But the match really could have and should have been Nyla versus Emi and like having everybody else outside. That would have worked much better. The fourth match was Takeshita versus Arya Daivari. I love Takeshita. This match was, again, a match. It was actually pretty good, but it's not really memorable except for the fact Don Callis appeared to be scouting Takeshita.
Yeah. He was definitely there scouting someone. He was there for someone, and I've got it was actually not scouting Arya Daivari. So I thought this was a solid match for Dark Elevation. A lot of times we can get squash matches, and I thought this was actually a match where we got some offense on both sides. Takeshita is a star, and Daivari, whether you like him or not, he does his job as far as making you dislike him. He's very dislikable. He's a very good heel, So I mean, But it's a good Dark Elevation match.
He's so talented, and he could do so much if he just had the right booking. I don't quite know what happens to the Trustbusters. I did miss about a month and a half of Dark and Dark Elevation. So I'm
They
not.
haven't like formally broken up that I know of. I mean, I watch it basically every week, and I haven't seen any like formal breakup. I'm not sure. I mean, I
I
just think
haven't
Parker and
seen
them
it.
weren't there this week, but
I haven't seen it,
yeah,
so I don't know. We have a Kip Sabian promo.
sighting promo.
I don't. Yeah, Kip Sabian's going off the deep end. We have the fifth match on Dark Elevation was knockoff Frank Ocean, Lee Moriarty versus Robert Anthony. I'm sorry, you cannot unsee it once you see it. Versus Robert Anthony. Lee does win with a submission, and he shows in this match just how good he can be.
Yeah.
And I'm not quite sure why he is able to show that on a Dark and Dark Elevation, but when we get to Dynamite, it doesn't seem to
Translate, yeah.
convey it. That's very odd to me.
I agree. You would think if you could do it on one stage, you could do it on any stage, but maybe the bigger crowd for some reason gets to. I mean, I don't know. I mean, a lot of times it's the same crowd, right? I mean, they filmed Dark before Rampage, so it's like I don't. That's. I mean, it's not the Dynamite crowd, so maybe that makes a difference. But no, I mean, I like this match. I like Lee Moriarty. I thought Robert Anthony had some good offense. The crowd loved him because he was a local boy. Um, yeah, I mean, I have on my notes. Lee needs more offense, just in
Mhm.
general, like just to kind of get over that he's even better than he is, or that he's as talented as he is.
Mhm.
And then yeah, that he won with the submission. I mean, I thought it was an okay match. Again, I don't really know anything about Robert Anthony, so but I thought it was a good match for Dark Elevation. One where we had at least a competitive match.
Yeah, agreed. The sixth match on Dark Elevation was Jay Lethal and Satnam Singh versus Joe Alonzo and GPA.
Wow, I must have fucking fallen asleep or something because I still don't have that match in my notes or nothing. Holy
I watched this completely sober, and I wish I had not.
wow! I don't know what
Yeah,
I did here.
Jay Lethal deserves better. He and Satnam Singh do win. Moving on, we now have a promo between All Eco, Ethan Page, Arya Davari, and Matt Hardy, in which right now Matt Hardy cannot use the Twist of Fate because of Ethan Page, but to make up for Matt Hardy hitting a Twist of Fate and beating Arya Davari, um, Ethan Page has now allowed Arya Davari to start hitting the Twist of Fate. If Matt Hardy hits the Twist of Fate, it costs him $50,000 every
Yeah,
time.
57.
It was an interesting promo. It got Ethan Page on TV, so we'll take it. Well, on YouTube. Next, we have Best Friends and Rocky Romero versus Davey Bang, Freedom Ramsey, and Yabo the Clown. Um, Anytime that you have chaos or Rapungi Vice in a match, it's going to be an interesting dynamic. I enjoyed it. It had a bit of comedy, but we often forget how good Rocky Romero really, really is
Hmm.
until we see things kind of like this. A lot of the offense was for him. We did get to see a lot more Trent. Um, we saw some Chucky T in there, and of course, Best Friends win. Um, Anything
I
you want
thought
to
Yabo was funny. I liked the clown. He had a couple decent spots. I mean, he was the only one memorable from the other team. I mean, he's the only one that made it in my notes from the other team. No, I mean, this is best friends. This is one of those less enjoyable Dark Elevation matches just because you kind of know what's going to happen. But not that I ever have any doubts really what's going to happen. But this one you already know is going to be basically a squash. When you don't know the other three people, essentially, it's going to be a squash. So, and of course, that's what we get. So I love Rocky Romero. I like Roppongi Vice. I'm a big fan of Trent and Rocky. So I'm not a big fan of Chucky, but it is what it is. So, and yeah, they gave the fans what they wanted, and they got the win.
Yeah, I am not a clown fan. So
My wife
um
doesn't like clowns either.
they're creepy as shit. The eighth match is Minerva versus Lainey Luck. Lainey actually, I wish she had gotten in a little bit more offense. I
Yeah.
do like seeing her. I want her to actually start getting some wins on AEW, even if she's primarily on the YouTube channel. I do want to see her getting more wins. Of course, Minerva wins. by submission.
Yeah, I mean, it was basically a squash. The only thing that I really noticed was that I know you don't like her, but I like the new heelish Athena with the added aggression where she's smacking people around even after the bell and all that kind of stuff. I mean, I'm in for it. I'm in for it. I mean, if you're gonna have to, at some point, and I don't know that this is their goal, but at some point you have to try to create someone that's a viable competitor to Jade. Now, whether we think Athena Minerva should be that person or not, if Tony does, at least he seems like he's trying to create some aura around her of being tough. So, I mean, if that's what she's trying to do, then I'm in for it. I mean, I guess we'll have to see. But yeah, I mean, this was a squash match.
Yeah. Our ninth and not even our final match. Our ninth match was Hardy Party, Matt Hardy and Private Party versus Chaos Project and Isaiah Moore. It was very confusing because there's Isaiah Cassidy and there's Isaiah Moore, and Taz and I were like kind of aligned, like, hey, who changed? Whose name got changed here? So once we got past that, it was pretty good. It was a lot of Serpentico, unfortunately, getting thrown around.
Yes.
Which is entertaining, sad but entertaining, and we did get to see a lot of interesting offense. Private Party continues to develop. Them working with Matt Hardy is also still really good, but they need to separate away from the firm. There has to be something more for all parties involved in that whole storyline. And of course, we do end with Hardy Party getting a win. Good match. Took a decent amount of time. Good amount of offense. I love seeing Serpentico. Luther is insane. And Isaiah Moore. This was like my first time seeing him.
Yeah, I don't know anything about him. I mean, I like seeing Matt Hardy kind of back in that traditional Hardy gear and looking more like the original Matt Hardy. So I'm in for. I think Matt Hardy's a better face than he is a heel. So I like him better as a face. I'm disappointed that Private Party seems to be relegated to dark elevation. Like you said, I don't know if they just need more time. I'm not sure what's going on. Maybe they just need to break away from what they're doing. And it's all about booking, right? Tony Khan just has too many people, and they're just one that just kind of gets forgotten about in the mix. But yeah, I mean, this was a good match. This is your more traditional dark elevation match where you get a chaos match. Luther acts crazy, Serpentico gets beat up, and somebody else looks really good, which is what Private Party and Matt Hardy did. So
I would love for Matt Hardy and Private Party to go to ROH. I think that has some built-in storylines. You can do different things, move different pieces around. Could be interesting. We'll see. The last match was Eddie Kingston and Ortiz versus The Factory, which was Aaron Solo and Nick Camarado in this particular setting. First note, Eddie Kingston did come out in kind of different gear until he took the shirt off.
He did. He did. But it was red and black this time and not black and yellow.
See?
So at least he changed the color. Same pattern, same like whatever uniform, with the leotard, whatever the fuck you want to call it, just different colors this time. So at least it's something.
He's being festive.
And he had the D's Nuts shirt. So at the beginning, so I noticed how nobody in commentary wanted to touch that.
Because I mean, like.
They were like, you can see the shirt, you can buy it at AEW T-shirts, but we're not going to say what it is.
So, much like Jon Moxley falling off the ramp on Wednesday, has been chopped and screwed to so many things. Them talking about D's Nuts will definitely get chopped and screwed into like most anything. So let's just John. It and we'll go from there. Look, I maintain he was so pissed off that Hangman, Adam Page's ancestors, had to come down and knock him down before he knocked Hangman back. So, in this match, we did, of course, have Kingston and Ortiz win. Ortiz got a lot here.
Yeah.
He did a lot. We had, of course, like the hot tag, but then we had Ortiz come back in. I think if booked correctly, Ortiz could be a TNT champion while Kingston holds the main belt. And there is like some friction of who loses their belt first.
Yep.
How does everything go? But we'll see how it plays out. And that, of course, was Dark Elevation. Decent show. I think in order for it to continue to stay decent, we need to have some storylines that graduate to Dynamite. And we need to start cycling some folks from Dynamite onto these types of shows.
Yeah.
And keep refreshing our talent like we used to do back in the pandemic and back in the early days of Dark. I think Dark Elevation, while good, maybe a lot for the booking. And I think that there needs, of course, to be more than one booker.
Yeah. No, I agree. I mean, I clearly, Dark is a level below Ramp. You got Dynamite, and then you got Rampage, and you got Dark, and then you've got Dark Elevation. So, I mean, I understand that it's the lowest on the totem pole, and that it's probably the most developmental. That's why you see probably, whatever. But there's a lot of guys in the main roster that don't get enough play, and they could be getting action on AEW Dark and Dark Elevation, and it would boost Dark and Dark Elevations, views and watching and whatever. So, yeah.
For Dark, do you have any matches that are must watch or must talk about?
No, I don't, honestly. The only one that I thought was the two that I enjoyed the most were Brian Cage versus Tony Deppen, because I think both guys are really good wrestlers. I'm not sure why both guys aren't getting more pushes. I don't know if Tony Deppen actually has an AEW contract or if he's just brought in, but he's great in the independents. I love him. I thought this match was good, although it was essentially a squash for Brian Cage. I like watching Angelico. That match wasn't all that much to talk about. Never heard of Shino, but I love Angelico, so I was fun watching that. And anytime you get Emi Sakura, I didn't know the woman she wrestled, Tiara James. I was happy with that, but no, honestly, no. And then we had another, Matt Hardy private party match to finish the show against the Wingmen. I mean, there's
watching Dark, it was really kind of missable this week.
It was
ALW
which is unfortunate.
Yeah, he like you hit the matches that I wanted to talk about. That's kind of like a filler episode. Again, let's get some storylines that graduate up and go across, because it really was kind of boring. And I remember maybe 2-3 months ago, if that long, where Dark was, if you missed Dark, like you missed a lot. And I need that to go back to being the way of how they do things. But if you have to watch,
oh, go ahead. I was just gonna say, and I get a little tired of seeing. I love both shows, but I get a little tired of seeing the same guys. I mean, it feels like the factory just lives on Dark and Dark Elevation. And I know they have like 5 guys, but they have matches on every show. It's like there's other guys you can bring in. We don't need Matt Hardy and Private Party on both Monday and Tuesday night back to back. We don't need the factory on Monday night and Tuesday night back to back. Give them one night and then bring some other guys in for the other night. I mean, I think for me, it just makes it a little less exciting when you see the same group over and over again.
Dark this week was missable.
Definitely.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Hold on 1 second. There is like this giant thing happening right now. Give me 1 second.
Yep. Hey, y'all, I'll hold down the floor for a second. It appears that I have lost my... Well, I'm glad that this is the first episode, because this is we're getting all the bugs out now. I am looking at my thing here, and I cannot find any notes about Impact, which I know I watched twice and wrote notes about. So I'm a little irritated about that at the moment, so I'll have to let CM probably lead the talk on Impact when she's back.
Okay. It's like a cricket.
For whatever reason, I don't know what's going on. I don't know if my phone is fucked up or not, but I have Word on my phone, which is where I watched and kept track of all these notes. Oh, there it is. I was like, why don't I have my notes from Impact? Now they're back. My phone is clearly, I don't know, some weird.
You clearly need Google Docs, friend.
No, that's what I'm using. Not Google Docs, but I'm using like Word OneDrive. So I mean, I can, but I just don't. Yeah.
Are you making it available offline as well?
I thought I was, but I don't know.
Yeah. All right. So since
No.
we talked about Dark and it being missable, let's go ahead
Yeah.
and go into Impact.
Yep. I mean, again, this Impact is a good show. They had a couple good matches. I don't know if there's anything that you wanted to talk about specifically. I thought that um, you know, Bully Ray is great on the mic. He opened the show, in the ring talking. He's good on the mic. He's a great heel. He's still very hateable, as well he should be, because in real life, I guess he's a piece of shit. So, um, you know, but yeah, I mean, I like that, but there wasn't a whole lot on this show that I thought was whatchamacallit, was overly memorable. Rich Swann versus Bully Ray was an okay opening match once it got started. I love seeing Rich Swann. I did like the end of the match when Scott D'Amore came out and Tommy Dreamer came out and had all the run in with whatchamacallit. Scott D'Amore looked like he actually wanted to try to do something. His shirt was all untucked and he was all sweaty, but we all know he's too scared. No, I mean, I'm assuming you're not going to watch Throwback 3 tonight that we got promos for a couple times where they do where everyone takes it and turns themselves into a bad 80s character. Yeah, I'm not watching it either. Let's see. It didn't get much better after that. I mean, we had Moose versus Buhinder, which I don't know if you got anything to say about that, but I don't. That was a match that they didn't necessarily even have to do. I didn't see that match. Which sucks because I like Moose, but he's still struggling. Moose needs a lot more time in there. I don't know what Moose needs. He's been in the ring a lot, and he's still clunky in a lot of ways. He did a kip up that looked really bad. I don't know if you watched it, but he did a kip up where he like fucked up and botched. So I don't really know what to say about Moose. I really liked Moose like a year and a half ago, 2 years ago. I thought he was good when he had the title and when they put the title on him, but his run was terrible. And watching him last night, he needs a lot. He still needs a lot of work. I don't know.
Moose needs to work with the higher caliber people he was working with when he was champ.
Yeah.
If Moose can do that, Moose will be good. And I think that's the Moose that we like to see. And I think, honestly, having him in the program with Bully Ray is pretty good. Because Bully Ray is so hateable that you gotta like Moose. And that gives him time to kind of build up being a face. And build like his repertoire because he can do the moves. He just kind of needs a good opponent.
Yeah. He needs someone to bring out the mat to raise his level. He seems to wrestle to his level of competition. So, and then Joe Hendry came to the ring. I believe in Joe Hendry. I love Joe Hendry.
Every time you say his name, you gotta clap.
So Hendry came out. They had a little. Him and Moose had a little whatever. And then we got what was really a bad Mike Bailey interview. Like, I love Mike Bailey, but he talked.
Keep that, don't we? Don't we? That didn't
a little too robotic.
That didn't exist at all.
Then we had a Mickey James video package. Macklin and Kaz. Anything you want to say about that match?
I like these two. It is like oddly, it's like a father-son type situation. And I like that Macklin brings out of Kaz who Kaz was in TNA.
Yeah.
Which is something that a lot of fans haven't ever really seen. And it doesn't translate well to AEW because they don't give him that storytelling time and opportunity. I like this though.
Yeah, I like this match.
Good, really interesting. And I can also see, and it makes viable sense, Deonna getting involved as well. And Tracy Brooks getting involved. And it wouldn't be like, you know how WWE has like those really clunky intergender matches?
Yeah.
It wouldn't be like that. It would be something like 2 or 3 matches and you keep moving past it. It is a story that can come back multiple times, can stop, start, because they're both really good at what they do. So
Yeah.
I enjoyed it.
Yeah, no, I agree. I enjoyed the match. I thought it was a good match. Both guys are really good workers. We know what Kaz can do. We see what Macklin can do when he's given the stage and the freedom to do it in Impact. It's just sad to think of what he was in WWE, to see the
And when you're not
difference.
saddling him with a racist.
Yeah, no doubt. Yeah, I mean, they had some really good spots in the match, and it was what it was. I mean, it was a really good match. Macklin with the power, Kaz with the speed, and yeah, I thought it was good. Macklin got the win. Yeah, a good quality match.
Mm-hmm.
Then we had a recap of the Death Dolls retaining their title. And then we had Motor City Machine Guns challenging Heath and Rhino. Like, everyone was so calm until Rhino, flipped out at the very end. I don't know. I've never been the biggest Rhino fan. I mean, he's a decent promo. I mean, but it was kind of like everyone's cool. And then here's Rhino just, I don't know.
I love Motor City Machine Guns. He's got kids, and Rhino needs to go back into management. Moving on.
No doubt. Mickey and Deonna, the continuation of Mickey's last rodeo.
Is anybody else starting to notice that Mickey is starting to kind of become a little heelish?
I guess I can kind of see that. Yeah.
Like
She
that
seems to, yeah.
hold the tights. Like, I got my good eye on you, Mickey James. I got my good eye on you, man. I see you. I keep you.
This was a good match. I mean, I don't, I feel like this suffers from a little bit of predictability where I feel like Mickey James is going to win because she's not going to leave the company yet. She's not going to retire yet. So, and I imagine they'll put the belt on her one more time as part of this last rodeo. So, I mean, I guess I'm thankful for the fact that she's wrestling people like Deonna Purrazzo. But again, I even with Deonna being Deonna and knowing how successful she's been in Impact, especially, I still didn't think she was going to really win this match. Which again, takes a little bit of the excitement out of it. But both women can go. Really good match. Not much to say about it. I mean, it was there was a lot of good technical wrestling, and both women are really strong wrestlers.
It was not predictable to me, and I'll say it like that because Deonna has managed to pull off so many, to me, shocking wins.
Yeah.
And wins that I would not have given her. She also continues to be a really great competitor. Now, as for Mickey getting that belt one more time, I don't know. But I think if she does, her last match should honestly be her versus Tasha Steelz versus Jordynne Grace versus Taya Valkyrie versus Deonna Purrazzo. Because these women have been some of your more consistent women. They have storylines that can be spun off in multiple different ways. Once Mickey loses, and whoever beats Mickey gains from that. And they could potentially win a title as well. And it could be something that the division starts to, revamp afterwards. I think that we have to look at where Mickey is, where we envision the women going, because Impact's women division has been kind of roller coaster lately, when before they were the dominant women's wrestling brand. I think that I don't know how Mickey's final ride ends, but I do think it will be a shock when she loses. And Impact is shocks. Yeah.
I hope it's a shock. I mean, I hope that it's but yeah, I mean, I for me personally, it still just feels pretty predictable. So, but honestly, for whatever reason, that's where my notes end. So you're gonna have to tell me where.
Okay.
I know. And my memory's terrible, so I don't just remember.
So after that, Jordynne Grace does come out. Hold on one second. After that, we have Jordan Grace coming out. She does challenge Mickey James to it. Well, to a match at Hard to Kill. They just have so many damn pay-per-views and shit that I forget the names.
Yeah.
It's gonna be interesting. I'm wondering who is going to take the heel role because they both could be heels based off of recent actions and how they interact with each other. But yeah, what closes the show and potentially closes a chapter in Impact is we have Violent by Design going into the prison cell where it all kind of began. Of course, Joe Doran is not there. He is having health battles. Hopefully, he pulls through. Hoping to see you soon, Joe. However, you have Eric Young and you have Diener, and they start battling each other. And it the whole thing about Violent by Design has been Eric Young is a designer and they're trying to get out the disease that's in Impact. And he questions Diener and it's like, would you do anything to get rid of the sickness, even if it was in here right now? And it was only those two. So if it wasn't Diener as the sickness, it was Eric Young.
Right.
A battle over a weapon ensues. And the last scene that we see is Diener sitting down by himself as he's gotten rid of Eric Young. Reports are saying Eric Young is going back to WWE. I kind of hope not, because even when Triple H was in Power in NXT, he didn't have a lot for Eric Young. I think Eric Young has a lot to offer in Impact. I think he can be a talent. He could be a scout. He could be a manager. He could be anything. But in WWE, I only see him as a background role just because of his age.
Yeah.
This was one of those. This was one of those Impact things that's just yeah, this is why I did with you, Impact. This is why I still watch you. What are your thoughts?
I mean, obviously it seems to be the end of Violent by Design, which I guess is where we were going anyhow, which is fine. I mean, they've been around for a while, and I'm okay with them splitting up. I don't necessarily want Eric Young to go back to WWE. I like Eric.
They just got Alan Angels in the group.
I like Eric Young a lot. I do think he has more to offer other places than WWE. I don't think that, even though he might have a good relationship with Triple H, I'm not sure that they see his value. And so, yeah, I mean, I would rather see him in stay in Impact, or even maybe go to AEW in some way, shape, or form. Although their roster's so overbloated at the moment that he'll just get lost in the mid card anyhow, or not be on TV. But yeah, I mean, I don't. This was good. I mean, this is again, like you said, this is why we watch Impact, and yeah. This is a good team. I'm interested to see what happens here. I like all the guys from Violent by Design, and so I'm interested to see where they all go.
I hope Violent by Design is not done. I want to see more Violent by Design, because I like Alan Angels. I'm so used to calling him Five now. I like Alan Angels, and he just got into Impact. I want to see what happens. So don't do that to me yet. If you get rid of Eric Young, cool. More Violent by Design into something a little bit more. Yeah. But don't just get rid of him. Don't just get rid of the group right now. You don't have to get rid of the whole group just because you got rid of the leader. I mean, let's not William Regal it.
Yeah, I mean, I'm kind of curious to see. We haven't heard that the Blackpool Combat Club is split up, but I've got to imagine that they
just got new merch. How do you bring up a group when they just get new merch?
They're going to try to keep them together, I guess, just without Regal. Now the Blackpool Combat Club is going to go after MJF and Regal. I mean, I don't know. Well, not MJF and Regal, because MJF and Regal aren't together, because MJF just turned on Regal. So I don't know. It's going to be interesting to see. But so that wraps it up. Basically, you got anything else to say about Impact?
Impact continues to be a very consistent show. I continue to enjoy being able to watch it. And I hope they get a better deal pretty soon so more people can watch it.
Yeah.
It does have a lot of great storylines from week to week, and it does have potential to grow back into that brand that was rivaling Raw at one point until, Eric Bischoff and Hulk Hogan.
I swear that they're paid by WWE to go into these companies and just fuck shit up.
You remember how Vince was like, there's a cancer, and he
Yeah.
sent the cancer to WCW, and he sent
Right,
it
yeah.
to ECW. Yeah.
Yeah. That's becoming more and more believable. All right, you want to give them BTE real quick and then take us
Yes.
out?
Yes. All right. So, BTE was episode 320. Hold on, let me double check. I believe it was 324. And it was titled F the Elite. This was the second episode of BTE after their return. A lot of folks on social media were very upset because they left in the chance of FCM Punk that were very loud. And if they had cut them out of BTE, it would have resulted in like silence. So better not to do that. But they had this time chance of F the Elite. This show was kind of like their typical holiday pre-show. We had, of course, the Elite being the Elite and doing random stuff. Last week they did do their shots for Fight Forever, and Cutler didn't tell them the right things, so kind of dealing with that. They're still adjusting back to being on the road. The sneaker fetish continues. We also have the best friends and that whole faction. They have like a small promo of Sue's book, and the whole thing was about Sue's book. It opens up with them feeling uncomfortable about Danhausen's like jarred teeth, and they're like, okay, so are we gonna talk about you being a heel? And Danhausen's like, no, we're not gonna talk about that at all. And then we go into them being like, okay, we're just uncomfortable. And he just like grabs the teeth and like just walks away. Orange Cassidy does the most talking that he's ever done, promoting Sue's book. And Sue has a children's book, which is really cute. And that's just kind of how it goes. You have your typical Dark Order kind of mini segment. I refuse to talk about Ryan Nemeth. None of his segments in BTE make sense. I try to skip past them if I can. He's weird. He's a good director because that's like he's gotten awards for it, but he's weird, and not in a good way. You have them coming back for their match, their second match, and they're like, what do we do? We got hit with the hammer, all that type of stuff. The ending of this episode was them sitting down with some of their travel buddies, including Christopher Daniels, who was also technically involved in the brawl and All Out. And they're talking about the things they're grateful for and they're thankful for. And they express thanks to the fans. They express thanks to everyone who was involved with BTE, with AEW, just with everything. Again, this is like your typical kind of wrapping up of the year and everything for BTE. And I look forward to seeing what happens. It was on hiatus while they were gone. If you are new to BTE does follow behind the scenes things that the Elite do and features quite a few members of folks backstage if they want to. It was one of quite a few vlogs that existed in backstage. However, the ones that were ongoing, Evil Uno, I haven't seen a recent one out from him. Ethan Page has put a hold on his backstage travel one. The bunny has hers, and she does like a lot of Oreo taste tests. So if that is something that you want to do, you can look up Allie the Bunny on YouTube, and you should be able to find it. Sammy no longer is doing his vlog right now for various reasons. But BTE does typically have storylines that cross over into Dynamite or Dark Elevation. If you have not ever watched BTE, I would suggest watching a few episodes of BTE. It is very funny. It's very hilarious. A lot of sophomore humor. And it's very interesting to see wrestlers travel and how folks get along, and just like how the camaraderie is very important to actually surviving on the road, because these folks are away from their families for the majority of the year. AEW does have like a lighter schedule, but you're still away from your family for a while. So that is a quick little thing of BTE. Next week I'll be back with more about BTE. And I'm, depending on how the episode goes, might discuss some of my favorite episodes, like give y'all numbers of things that you all can watch, because there is an episode in which Vanguard won. If you don't remember Matt Hardy, when he was the Delete Matt Hardy, he had Vanguard 1. Vanguard 1 has a funeral. It is hilarious. I crack up every time I watch it. So yeah. But before we wrap up, I do want to take the opportunity, depending on when this comes out, to say happy birthday to my significant other. You guys see him from time to time, Cameron Galloway. Face is right there. You can't miss it.
You guys face in your
happy
shirt.
birthday. He has a new project that just dropped on all your major streaming stuff. God is gracious. So go out, listen to it. That was our review of BCE, MLW, Impact Wrestling, Dark Elevation, and our disappointing review of Dark. Dark just has to improve. Like it was so good. It was so good. It was honestly some of the best wrestling out there.
Yeah, and I think Elevation was better this week than Dark. So Dark
It
needs to,
was.
Tony
Dark
Khan
did
needs to
not
clean
have
that up.
anything missed. Like Dark for like this is one of the few weeks Dark did not have anything that was vitally important. Like that I had to go out of my way to watch. And I don't like that. I enjoy Dark having things too.
I agree.
But that is it, and that is all. You can find us live on Tuesdays at 10:30 p.m. Eastern, not 9:30 p.m. 9:30 p.m. Pacific.
Central.
Yes. I cannot get my tongues together. 7:30 p.m. Pacific. Hey, you had your phone messed up. I can't tell time zones. We're all here, friend. You can catch us then. It's the Cookout Podcast. We talk about a whole lot of things. We have topics to talk about, but then somebody says something and we get off topic. It is what it is. We are who we are. We just accept it and embrace it. You can also find us live on Fridays at 10 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, 9 p.m. Central Standard Time, 7 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, as we do a live watch along for Rampage. No, we do not show you the screen, but you can hear us talk about the things. Feel free to drop down in our comments, tell us a little bit more about maybe some things that we should have watched. Tell us why Dark actually had a match or two that we should talk about a little bit more. Give us your favorite MLW or BTE moments of all time if you choose to. Tell us about your Impact love. We're here. Make sure you like, comment, subscribe, do all the things, pop up for our live stuff. Interact with us on Facebook and Twitter. Had to remember what social medias we have. But yeah, that's it. That's all. This is the first of hopefully many Under the Radars. ALW, you got anything for me?
I do not.
All right.
All right. Thanks, y'all, for tuning in, and we'll see you next time.
Bye.